You know, I played with titles like we'd all do as authors, and I thought of The Real Mary, but we ended up with Lost, and I think it's better because you got the real Jesus, the real this, the real that. We get kind of tired of it. Like there's the fake, the false, the traditional, and the real. But what about the lost Mary? Meaning we don't have a clue. Now, everybody knows Christmas and everybody knows the crucifixion. What else do we know? There are a couple stories here and there that people might recall, but non Bible readers probably wouldn't even know those. So notice birth, death of Jesus. After Jesus dies, nothing. What about her life? Birth of Jesus and death of Jesus are a nice bracket, but there's got to be something in between. So the challenge is how to fill that in responsibly. There's got to be some imagination, some speculation. I would rather call it contextualization. Let's put her back where she belongs in her own time and place and come up with methods of doing that. And my method was to take every single textual source that we have, clearly the New Testament sources. There are about a dozen passages, and I see them almost as breadcrumbs in the forest. But believe it or not, a couple of them, even though they're a passing reference, I'll give you an example. In Mark 6, that's our earliest gospel. It's not the first in the New Testament, but it's the earliest record we have of Jesus and his life story and so forth, his teachings, is the Gospel of Mark. Chapter 6, verse 3, it talks about Jesus coming home to the village, Nazareth, and then he's identified as, who is this guy Jesus? Isn't that the son of Mary? Son of Mary. Interesting. We only know of women named and having children when they're very prominent. Uh, there's a few examples on ossuaries, which are these bone boxes in Jerusalem. It's almost always so and so son of, so and so son of. So when you say son of Mary, I think it's showing her importance is one way to understand it. So she has a background that we can recover by these little crumbs here and there. Why isn't the father mentioned? Joseph, it's well known, Joseph and Mary. Everybody's heard that. The manger scene, everything else. So why does it say the son of Joseph and his mother Mary, or Joseph and his mother Mary? We think he's probably gone. He's probably dead at that time. It's never mentioned after Jesus is 12. And other than that, he's only mentioned at the birth. Now, the father would be at the crucifixion if he was still around. He would be standing with his wife. They would be weeping on each other's shoulders, but he's not there. That then adds something because she becomes the matriarch of a household. We know of 5 boys, 4 brothers, and Jesus, that's 5, 3 sisters, but there could be more that we don't know. So the reason she's lost is because of sexuality. Let's just be frank. Mary ends up being not a Jewish woman, more a celibate. I don't want to call her a nun because she's much higher than a nun. I mean, if we go all the way, she becomes the Queen of Heaven, the Mother of God. So that's her theological role in particularly Roman and Greek Catholic tradition. But even, I would say, among non-Catholics, Protestants would say, well, yeah, she's the mother. And some would say she had other children. But Martin Luther, for example, thought she remained a virgin her whole life. So suddenly you have somebody that's she's married, but not really. I mean, it's a sort of companionship, you could say, a friendship marriage, but they're not having intercourse. They're not living a normal married life. And one child, Jesus, that's what becomes the tradition. So look what's been lost. Her widowhood, her being head of this large clan. And it's not just any clan, as it turns out, it's the Davidic clan, the descendants of King David of old. So they're a messianic clan potentially. Any male who can claim descent from King David, and they were very careful with these genealogical records, is pretty special, but also in a lot of danger. We have records that the Romans were looking for these people and watching them, and especially as time goes on past the life of Jesus, the Emperor Vespasian, for example, who destroys Jerusalem in the year 70, he's asking around, is anybody of the line of David, because we want to question them. You can see why. We don't want any revolt started. We want peace. We want prosperity. We don't want these crazy messianic things happening. So there's just so much about her, a Jewish married woman, 8 children in a very, very dangerous time. And she also comes from, I think, an aristocratic background.